The biggest challenge with AI is that AI adoption is continuous change. People think that change is something that you start and then you're finished and you get a breather from it. But with AI and AI adoption, change is continuous. When you're adopting AI, because of the complexity of AI, it changes a lot of things in people's work styles, the organization. And when things are in place, the AI on its own is changing, which then causes changes to work styles and the organization. So the change is continuous. And that's really the main problem with AI. It's this continuous change at a pace that people just aren't used to, at a pace that managers aren't used to managing. Our traditional methods focus on there's a start and an end for change. And then you are taking a breather to recover from it before you start the next set of waves of changes. But that's not how AI adoption is. That's not how AI is. AI is constantly learning and constantly reacting. There are market pressures, AI model updates, people who want to perform. So there's a lot of continuous change, and we need to address it for successful AI adoption. Now, there's quite a few who share the same thoughts on this, and you can see hints of this in a lot of the articles. Like here's one from the Chief Innovation Officer who co-authored this from ServiceNow. Goodbye digital transformation. Hello AI first business transformation. One of the big problems with AI adoption is people treat it as a digital thing. Well, that's a lot more complicated than a digital thing. I see AI adoption as something that you need to worry about alignment, traditional alignment. You need to worry about business transformation, cultural transformation, and digital transformation, and how all four of those things are interconnected to each other. And that makes AI adoption, successful AI adoption, very complex. According to KPM research, Gartner found that only 19% of boards reported making progress towards achieving digital transformation goals. So AI is wrapped in that. Only 19%. Should be closer to 91%. So there's a problem there. AI is being implemented in a very narrow way through digital, and also we're not used to continuous change. So we're getting a double whammy. The thing about AI is that it's 100% depending on meaningful data. 100% dependent on meaningful data. So that's a tall order and tall bar right there. A lot of companies can't argue that about their data. Usually they have a lot of data, but only a small fraction of it is meaningful. Here's from Forrester. Why AI ROI remains elusive despite widespread adoption. So people can adopt AI, but their productivity gains does not translate to ROI for the company, to the balance sheet, to the bottom line of the company, which is a real odd thing to hear. So that's a lot of the gains with AI. It sort of gives the impression that those gains are from layoffs and not paying people and terminating people and not paying their salaries. That's where the gains are with AI, not through innovations with AI. And that's a bitter pill to swallow. There's also the thing with the AI models. They're changing too fast. Companies can't absorb it. Companies can't absorb the new capabilities. Right? Can't keep up with the pace of change. So we need mechanisms in place to keep up with the pace of change. So we need AI to help us keep up with the pace of AI and other automations. So here's from Harvard Business Review, A Guide to Building Change Resilience in the Age of AI. Now, they propose typical change management approaches in this article, but what I liked was this clip in the past, organizational transformation was episodic, which means it had a start and it had an end. All our methodologies, all our approaches had a start and an end. It's not a continuous change. So we have to start looking at change as being continuous, something that we need to monitor, something that we need to track, something we need to understand and constantly understand really the behavior of the change as itself. So this is getting more meta on the change, not focusing so much on what is changing, but focusing on the nature of the change and behavior of the change itself, its personality. And what I like here is put human well-being at the center of change. And I love that when the article said that, because I do not believe in reducing headcount and having it replaced with AI, because every time you reduce headcount, you lose something. Unless that headcount should have been done a while ago and you're just using AI as a smokescreen to hide the fact that you should have done it 2 or 3 years ago. Now here's an article from Boston Consulting Group, From Change Management to Change Strategy. Here they talk about extreme fundamental changes require deep overhauls of behaviors. See, that's massive changes there. It's hard to change people's work styles, change their personalities, change their behaviors. But that's what we're expected from AI. And the more people work with AI, you will see slight augmentation of how they talk and what they value and what they have for priorities. There's a few psychological studies being done on this, and some disturbing results are coming up. However, these changes may entail large benefits for the employee. So this means that anytime there's changes, you expect people to change. Well, people have to have some benefit from it. They have to have some skin in the game for it. Right? And Boston Consulting Group got all of this from pulling together a simulation. I love simulations. And this is pretty typical type of mentality when you are dealing with large-scale change. It's easy to change one person through various methods, but getting a team to change, an organization to change, hard to scale. It also talks about with champions. When people make changes, they need to have an emotional investment in the change. They need to have a relationship with the change. And the best way to do that is have champions, because those champions are the poster people, poster boy, poster girl of that change. Have a relationship with them, and you have a relationship with the change. And so here it talks about, in the article, it identified and promoted champions of change, a group of highly respected and well-connected engineers. Right? So change, effective change requires relationships. It requires people connecting with each other. And that resonates well with me too, because I believe that change should succeed based on people fighting to make it happen. Because once people fight to make it happen, people will do everything they can to protect it and sustain it. But all of this is screaming about, because of continuous change and because this change is happening so fast, we need a change meta framework. We need to take a step back and look at the nature of the change, how it's behaving, what the personality of that change is. Because we need something to help incentivize people to look for 100% meaningful data and feel comfortable within this framework using what they know that has worked in the past, their own go-to methods. And that this framework must support people to do 91% progression towards the goals for maybe a digital transformation or a business transformation or whatever. And the framework must also help connect between individual productivity and business ROI. So this meta framework would help navigate people through all those milestones of change and problems that change can uncover, and let you know that it's happening so you can plan for it and you can work around it. All the other approaches we currently have are good as a GPS. You know where things are going with the change, where things are headed for the change, but making sure you're in the right direction, making sure you don't hit a major pothole or going to the wrong destination completely, that is missing from the other approaches, the other frameworks regarding change. So one framework to consider is Cascade to Chain, the Change Reengineering Manifesto. Now, this is a manifesto that has at least 60 principles on change that help get you to understand the behavior behind change, why things work, why things fail, how things tend to be interconnected with other things at a company. and what you can do to operationalize change, continuous change within your company on a day-to-day basis. Stop treating change as a project and treating change as being operational to reduce the risk and to reduce the pressures and the burn that you can get from budgets, from people, and from management and leadership. So this manifesto focuses on seeing change as a cascade where we have things around that are interlinked by chains, and this cascade spreads through those things along those chains to other chains. And so the manifesto emphasizes that you monitor the changes, you monitor the chains themselves, and you monitor the burn on resources, the burnout of your people, and the burn of your budgets and cash flow. And really, it does what typically a lot of frameworks argue that they should do, is to build a strategy to execution. A lot of the change management approaches today focus really good on execution. They just need that navigational system, which this meta framework helps provide. Also, because there's a constant monitoring of people, of the budgets, of the money, it makes progress towards change sustainable. So you're getting that 91% progression. And because people tend to work the way they tend to do, and it's hard to change them even despite all the training you can do, it helps people use their own approaches, and the meta framework helps them sort of redirect those approaches by changing their priorities or their mindsets on how they look at change and the scope of change. You will find that AI adoption is continuous change. You can make the statement AI is change, but we need change re-engineering to help us keep up with that. You can't control change. All you can do is redirect it and make sure that you mitigate the impact and the damage.